Hello everybody. This morning when I was putting down my pool, my little above ground pool here, when I was pulling all this off, I noticed that I have worms. And for those of you that don't know me, I like to get out in the outdoors and I like to go fishing occasionally. I'm not a sport fisherman or anything like that, but I mean I do like to go fishing and take the family out camping and all that outdoor stuff. So I came up with this idea. You know, the best bait for fishing is worms. I like to fish. I have worms at my house. So I'm gonna try and set up my own a little worm bucket, you would call it. You know, just to make to have worms whenever I want to go fishing or anything. Just grab them out of my worm bucket. So I'm gonna give that a go. Alright guys, so here I'm gonna start prepping my worm bucket. I went ahead and went to Lowe's and I got two of these food grade buckets. You can use any bucket, they don't have to be food grade, but if you do use something that's not food grade, just make sure it's clean on the inside. Make sure it's got no paint or residues. And if you take off paint or anything, you can take off whatever impurities are left. You just take some white distilled vinegar with the rag and just clean it all up. That'll just make sure you get most of the chemicals or anything off it if they're not food grade. But these are food grade, so I'll just use them as is. I'll also be needing a drill, a bit. You could use any bit, but this is what I had on hand. This goes up to, I believe, a half inch bit for plastic, and then some type of screen. This here is a screen mend to fix screens, and I had bought this before, so to fix a window screen. So I had this on hand, as you can see, you know, screen fix. And that uses a hair dryer to activate the glue on the screen fix. Then for the actual dirt side of it, I'm gonna use potting mix, and this is brown mulch that I got on special for $1.75. I don't need that much, but I went ahead and got the whole bag for, might have some projects later on. A shovel to mix it, and I'll mix it in my wheelbarrow. If you don't have a wheelbarrow, you can do it on the ground somewhere where you have dirt or something. So let's go ahead and get this worm farm going. All right, for the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put 8 holes into the lid of the bucket, and I'm gonna use this, you know, to make it easier on me, not have to measure or anything. So I'll just go, you know, I'll make one here, skip, make one here, skip, make one here, skip, and so on and so forth. This should give me 8 holes on this lid. Alright, so I went ahead and I kind of cleaned these up a little bit, just taking off all the burrs. Well, most of them at least. No big problem right there. Now the way these screen fixes work is they're heat activated, so you need to, you know, put them on there and they get activated with heat. So I stole my wife's hair dryer, and that's what should be used to set these patches in. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show you guys how it looks. All right, we have our 8 holes on the top of our lid, and now we're gonna do the same thing, or you know what, we'll just do 4 on this bottom part, and this is gonna be the drain, because the worms, they like to be moist, but they don't like to be, you know, obviously they can't be underwater. So these holes right here are gonna allow us to have a drain. Okay, as you can see, this is our lid. We have our 8 holes. Now this is going to be a breather. Since part of this is actually, you're going to be in part making compost, as you can see, because we're going to be adding that. That's what's going to, help feed the worms. The way this is going to work is, this is going to be the drain bucket. This is where you'll be collecting it's got a name but I can't remember right now. It's like worm water. It's supposed to be good for fertilizer and all that. So the way this works is this bucket with the holes is going to go inside the other bucket, and then here we'll go ahead and add our compost, our dirt and our compost. Then I'm gonna go pick some worms later on and put them in there and see if they survive. Once they're in there, I'll throw some food on top. Go ahead and close that lid, and that's how it's gonna be. So next step is going to be to go ahead and get our potting mix and our mulch mixed up. Now what's recommended is 1/3 of potting mix and 2/3 mulch. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do, and I'll show you guys how to get it done. I'm not really gonna measure this. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And not make a mess. So So it's right about where I want it. This mulch should also, the mulch is also going to help me, you know, since it's not too, it'll help so it doesn't get packed that much. So hopefully it should be easy to pick out my worms once I get it going. I should be able to dump it off right here in this bucket. I mean, it's wheelbarrow, dump it out, pick out my worms, leave some in there, go fishing. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of water to this. I think it's really dry. Use some leftover water. Now this has been out in the sun, so they get a funny taste. So that's why we won't be drinking these anymore. If that offends you, you might want to pick another time. Another one. Mix it up. About good right there. So now I'm going to take the bucket with the hose and I'll fill it probably 3/4 of the way up. Now on top of that, I'm going to be adding these food scraps, which I got some ends of cilantro, a withering tomato, a couple hash browns from you guys know where, a couple of carrots, and a couple of apples. Now this organic stuff is going to be, should be what the worms are going to be feeding off of. So these you don't really have to cut them down, you know, just big chunks of work, because as it goes decomposing, the worms will be munching off of it. So I'll probably break them down a little bit more than I have right here. Just put these apples a little more in half. Throw in some of this cilantro. Break up the hash brown a little bit. Open up my tomato. I'm still debating on whether the jalapenos, but I'll throw it in there just to see if, in case they like it. Just open that up a little bit. I don't want to add too much to where it starts, you know, rotting right like before they even get to it. So I won't add that much. All right, we got that in there. Let's put the leftovers for later on. Mix in a little bit more of this mulch. All right. So now the next step would be, I'm gonna check on my worms, see if they already come up and started eating that bread. So if they're coming out, then I'll go ahead and grab some and I'll throw some in here. There we go. All right, so I say I got about around 30 worms, and I've just been throwing them here in the bucket on top of the compost, and as you can see they're making their way down. I got all different sizes, small and big, and hopefully most of them thrive and give me more worms. See up there, they love that bread. You can see they're making their way down. I just saw one pop down right now. But you see, this little guy right here is going down. Alright, so we'll go ahead and cover this up and leave them be. The good thing, this doesn't need that much attention. You just gotta make sure they have something to munch on and make sure they're nice and moist. And then I went ahead and I put bread under this again, and I took out the pool so the water kind of all got that all wet, but I'm gonna go ahead and wet that up a little bit more, because once I take all this tarps and the pool out of here, if they don't have a moist place, they're pretty much gonna die. So it's better if I collect them to have them dry up in the dirt. So we'll kind of wet that down. Just that little bit of moisture in here. Just like that. Alright. There you guys have it. Worm bucket. So I'll check up on it in a week or two and see how that's going. So I'll go ahead and upload a video coming up. Like and subscribe. Have a good day.